I greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters. Yes, Woodlands Conference. Our topic is very important. Challenges faced by the Adventist youth. Challenges faced by the Adventist youth. I'm going to give you few of them because there are so many. I'm going to give you few of them. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share with you only three challenges faced by the Adventist youth. So I'm going to share with you only three. The first one I'm going to share with you is the emotional baggage. Emotional baggage. The second one, sexual temptation. That's the second one. And the third one that I'm going to share with you is the battle for the mind. These are the three challenges that the Adventist youth are faced with, and that is basically the emotional baggage, sexual temptations, and the third one I'm going to share with you is battle for the mind. Now, beloved, I want you to understand that when you think of the emotional baggage, basically this is just a metaphor that refers to unprocessed things in one's life, negative things for that matter, which are not processed, which still remain in someone's mind. Those kind of things are the ones referred to as the emotional baggage. Let me share this with you, that actually every human being has emotional baggage. The only difference is there are some who are ruled by these emotional baggage. In other words, the choices they make are actually based on this emotional baggage. What could this be? Let me share with you a few of them. One that I can mention is anger. So they got angry at one time in their past, and that anger was not resolved. The issue that angered them was not resolved. And that thing could continue on in their lives. The other one are fears, okay? And they, because of those fears, what they went through, you find that those same fears are still following them. Yet they have moved on for a number of years after that, but the fears are still following them. Of course, there's another one which is something more serious, which when somebody comes out of something traumatic, maybe he witnessed it or he was even a part of it, and those are things that you find feed this emotional baggage, and the people, this person has this emotional baggage, and these things can affect the person indeed. The other one is guilt. Yes, guilt. There are times when a young person, when he was still probably a teenager and so on, or still even younger, did something, and he has not forgiven himself or herself of that thing. And that guilt is still with him or her. And that emotional baggage has affected the youths. And why is it so? Because sometimes some of these youths don't want to open up to these things. And because of that, the weight is still on the youth for a long, long time. The other one is regret. You find there's something they did and they regret about it. And that regret is still following them for a number of years later. And if it is not resolved, that emotional baggage can actually inform what they are going to do each time they are faced with choices to make. And so it's very, very important for us to look at this. It's very, very important for us to understand this. It's very, very important for the Adventist youth also to know, because there are some who don't even know why they make certain silly decisions. Yet it is all because of the emotional baggage which they have. Others is because of rejection. Others is because of rejection. You find here's a young person is taught by the mother to say, you know what, by the time you were born, your father had told me he's not responsible for the pregnancy, and off he left, he abandoned us, and so on. That rejection will be with this child. The mother may not know, but that rejection will be with this child. And for the rest of his life, for the rest of her life, if she doesn't get help, if he doesn't get help, he will be having this particular issue. And because of that, you find that even for them to be in a relationship, this young person who have trouble in a relationship. Why? Because when the brother just says, today I'm busy, I'll call you tomorrow morning, the sister already sees rejection. So all I'm saying is the emotional baggage can affect the youth, and these are the challenges that the youth go through. The other one is the abuse. Abuse. Of course, rejection is part of the abuse, one of the worst actually abuses in the world. And then you have these abuse. I don't know what abuse it is, but these are things that a young person will go on in life and they'll still have these particular things, this baggage on them, this weight on them. The other one that I want to share with you is exploitation. You may find that maybe the young person was exploited when he was still young, and this is still there on him or her. Let me mention one which is really on my heart. This is when the child has no father figure in his life. And this is a big issue, especially for the boy child. It's also terrible for the girl child. But for the boy child, he needs a father to be there. A father as a role model. But yet the father is not there. And this becomes a challenge. This can also be part of the emotional baggage. And these are challenges that Adventist youths are facing. What could be the solution? The solution is this. That young people, when you have certain emotions within you, open up to someone. Talk to someone. Yes, talk to someone. Even in the church, we have at least somebody you respect. Talk to that person that you respect. All I could say, you can have mentors in your life. Once you have this mentor, this mentor will serve as a counselor, and that will help you a lot. That will help you a lot. Let's move to the next thing. We have covered emotional baggage as one of the challenges the young people are facing. The second one that I want to move to is sexual temptation. Yes. Sexual temptation is truly one of the challenges faced by the youths. And let me put it very clear here. Let me give a fact here. That sex is a fascinating and amazing gift from God. Yes, sex is a fascinating and indeed a wonderful, sweet gift from God. But you know what? A young person who is listening to me right now, and you're watching me right now, I want you to know that sex is like fire. It can be a good servant in a relationship that is authorized by heaven, by the church, by the state, by the parents, and by the community. When these authorize you, then it will be a good servant for you. But if you want to do it without the authorization and the permission and the consent of God, your parents, the church, the state, the community, then the same sex will turn, instead of being a good servant, it will be a terrible master, and it will burn you. Because let me put it very clear to you, so that you could just understand this. That you know what? Sex is a very terrible and notorious temptation that young people meet today. Yes. And I want you to also know that sex is something that can ruin your future. It can ruin your career. It can ruin your reputation. It can ruin your ministry. It can ruin your leadership. It can ruin your life completely in even one single blow. And that's why you need to take care of this. And surely I've put it, that this is a challenge faced by the Adventist youths. Let me put it this way, that an Adventist youth can break the Sabbath only one day of the week. Only once, one day of the week, okay, like one day of the week, only on Sabbath, then a young person can break the Sabbath. But when it comes to sexual temptations, they'll come to the young person even 7 times in one day. So that's why it's important for us to take care of this. It's important for us to raise this awareness and say, yes, this is a challenge and needs solution to this. Let me say this now. This one is specifically for you, the young man there. Yes, this one is for you, young man there. Yes, this one is for you. That, you know what? Get the advice of Job. What did Job say? Job said that I have made a covenant with my eyes not to look at a woman lustifully. Job 31, verse is 1. It says, I have made a covenant. That tells me, young man, that for you, your eyes can bring problems to you. Your eyes. And you know, it all starts with the eyes. Then gets to the last that Job mentioned, which is the mind. And then later, you want to become greedy to get things that don't even belong to you, to enjoy that which does not belong to you. And so that is the issue. But I want you to know something, that as a man, young man, you have a mountain to climb. You have battles to conquer. You have a future to build. You have a career to work on. You have a business to establish. You have a family to put in place. You have great things ahead of you, and God has great plans for your life. But I want you to know that if you don't take care of sexual temptations, you may lose all these things that God has in store for you. So, I want you to realize something, that if you ask them, older men and older women, they'll tell you that families have been destroyed because of yielding to sexual temptations. And you find that once the family is destroyed, a person can even say, I forgive you, it's okay. But yet to build that trust again becomes a problem. Becomes a problem. And one of the challenges I've seen among the young people, is the internet. Yes. Internet is a challenge among the young people. And I want to mention one of the challenges that come from the internet, and that is pornography. In the olden days, for somebody to watch any pornographic movie, they had to go to a particular cinema hall. But today, just on the phone, just a click away, that's where pornography is. And a young man, a young lady can have access to pornography. But I want you to know that this is something that has destroyed a lot of young people. Destroyed them in their relationships. Destroyed them emotionally. Destroyed them spiritually. Destroyed them even on their physical activities. Pornography. And it has been proved as one of the top time wasters. Allow me to mention that this has taken so much time among some of the young people that some of them, they are now addicted to pornography. Allow me to say this, that indeed you can seek help and you find help. Don't die alone in silence. Just there where you're addicted to pornography and you want to die alone. No. Talk to someone and it shall be a blessing indeed. It shall be a blessing indeed. Others are also addicted to masturbation. And this is a challenge faced by the young people. Right now, as I speak to you, I have a team of young people, 132 of them, who are addicted to these two things, pornography and masturbation. And we are on a journey with them to victory. And I'm just saying, this is real. It's not something that you can just ignore. It's something real. You need help if you are faced with that particular challenge. And you will be amazed how victorious you shall be out of it. There are others who are in trouble because of what is known as phone sex. Others is sexting. These are some of the challenges that the young people are facing today. There are some young people who are faced with not only the sexual relationships, but even the emotional relationships with other people. And this is indeed a problem. This is indeed a problem. But I want you to know that today you can find help. You can find help. You can overcome that challenge. You can come out victorious over that particular challenge. Don't die alone. No, you can make it. And I am very positive about it, that you can make it. What is the solution to this? The solution to this is for you to know your identity. For you to know that you are a child of God. For you to know that for you as a child of God is not only to stay away from sexual intercourse or sexual sin, but for you need to know that you should also get to another level of the desiring sexual purity. Not only the act, but even your mind desiring sexual purity. And remember, your body is bought by the blood of Jesus. You're not of yourself. Remember that you're a child of God, and God created you for something great in your life. And for that reason, I want you to know that you can make it. You can make it. You can make it, and you shall be victorious. The third challenge that I want to share with you today, the third challenge is the battle for the mind. Yes, the battle for the mind. The battle for the mind. It must be very clear to us that when you think of an eagle, which is the national symbol of Zambia, when you think of an eagle, you think of the strong wings. When you think of an eagle, you think of this strong sight. And this is what God has given the eagle. And that's what makes the eagle different and unique from all the other animals. When you think of the lion, it's the king of the jungle, not because it is the most beautiful animal in the jungle. Not because it's the biggest animal in the jungle. By the way, let me shock you with this one. Not even because it's the fastest animal in the jungle. No, but all because of its courage. That's what God has given the lion. But let me tell you some good news. God has given man something that makes man unique from all these other animals. And that is the mind. The mind. God has given the mind to man. And that makes you, young person, to be unique and different from any other person. And no wonder when you look at the mind, God has protected the mind so well, deposited very well, sitting there on the brain there, and the brain is well protected there. And God has simply declared this is a no-go area. Even sharks should not go there, because the mind is what a human being is. We can change your wardrobe. We can even change your name. But if we don't change your mind, you still remain the same. And I want you to know that your identity, who you are, depends on just one thing, and that is your mind. Not your location, but just your mind. And therefore, I want you to understand that the devil knows this fact. And that's why whatever the devil brings is actually a fight, not for your leg, a fight not for your hand, a fight simply for one thing, and that is your mind. Your mind. Your mind. Your mind. And the devil wants to fight your mind because the devil knows that once he fights your mind and you have a particular way of looking at things, if the devil can change your mind, the way you consider certain things, then he has won you, because that way your identity will change. As a child of God, know this one thing, that what you have is nothing but the mind. And that's why young people are faced with this challenge. The battle for the mind. 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 Why do you think even those who are selling tires want to put pictures of young ladies that are not dressed properly for their advert? It's because they are targeting your mind. Because they know from your mind it will be easy for you to go to your wallet or to your purse. The mind. There's another problem, another challenge under this issue of the battle for the mind that is faced with the young people. And that is the appetite for instant gratification. The appetite for instant gratification. A lot of young people want to have everything now. Everything now. Everything now. They don't want to wait for tomorrow. They want everything now. No wonder they can be involved in corruption, because they want everything now. They can't wait because they want everything now. Now, now, now. Like in the now, now, now. I don't know why it is like this with this generation. I don't know. Because we were told reliably that our parents would, even when they're in love, they would write each other letters, and somebody would wait for a month for a letter, and then they would respond and so on with letters and so on, and they were patient. But the generation of today, they want everything in the now. And this appetite for instant gratification is the one that has caused a lot of trouble. And that's why a young person would rather not read a book but watch a movie where the book is summarized. They want everything now. They want it easy. They want it in the now. And that's why many young people have a challenge even to be faithful. Today, even when you want to talk about virginity among the young people, they want to say, no, you are old-fashioned. Why? Because they want it now. They want it now. You tell them, hey, wait, you can only kiss her after your marriage during your honeymoon. No, they can't wait. They want it now. The appetite for instant gratification is the one that has caused so many problems. And that's the battle for the mind, because that's where choices are made. Choices are made in the mind. The mind. The mind. You know what Paul said? That when I was a child, I used to think like a child. I used to do everything like a child. That's what Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11. He says everything was that like a child. And then he mentions three things. He says, I used to speak like a child. I used to think like a child. And I used to reason and understand things like a child. But he says, when I became an adult, when I became an adult, I put away all these childish things. That tells you everything. Even for you to be now a lady, fascinating woman, for you to be now a real man, everything has to do with your mind. It's not even your physique. It's not even your stage. It's your mind. It's your mind. And that is where now you have the understanding and the maturity to know that I can have this later. You have the maturity now to know that I can work for this and have it later. I can work for it for 5 years and have it later. You have that particular maturity because now you are grown. You're grown up now. The other one, which is a challenge, is alcohol, of course, and other illegal drugs. And alcohol is a challenge. Why is it a challenge? Because alcohol has the ability to go straight to your mind, to your brain. And their choices and their decisions made by the mind are disturbed, they are altered, they are corrupted by the alcohol that you take. So I want you to know that every bottle, every sip of an alcohol is not a fight for the body, is actually a battle for the mind. That's why I want to advise you, stay away from alcohol. Stay away from alcohol. If you need help, seek help so that you stay away from alcohol. Yes, doesn't matter whether no one sees you, but your mind is in trouble. The other thing that is true about the battle for the mind is lack of self-discipline. Yes, if only you can have this self-discipline, you succeed. Young people, I want you to know that I have taken a deliberate step of studying people that are successful. And I have discovered that all of them, Christians and non-Christians, have one thing in common: self-discipline. And you got it right, self-discipline. Not just discipline, but self-discipline. If you lack self-discipline, if you lack from your mind the self-discipline, you will not succeed in your life. And it is this self-discipline that will help you to be focused in your life. It is this self-discipline that will help you to have values in your life, things that you treasure, things that now even, define who you are, things that you treasure. It's these life values that you will have. And once you have self-discipline, then these life values, you will cherish them, you will keep them. Values such as determination, values such as hard work, values which are really, really good, such as perseverance and so on. If only you could have these values, then it shall be well with you. Battles for the mind. The other thing that I can mention here is self-esteem. You need to have this self-esteem in your life. You need to know that you're a child of God. And allow me to mention that one other challenge that the young people are facing on the battle for the mind is actually peer pressure. Their peers telling them to do something different. Peer pressure. And I want you to know that indeed, when we talk of battles for the mind, we cannot fail to mention the issue of corruption and integrity. Young people, how we pray that you can be a child of God who is known by one thing, that young man, that young lady is honest, has integrity. You can try this and that, but she's not there for sale. He's not there for sale. He's of integrity. And how can you be a young man and a young lady of integrity? Well, you need to start by redefining yourself. Number two, you need also to have a mentor in your life, or should I say mentors in your life. Number three, you need to know that the Bible declares in Romans 12 verse 2 that do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You can only be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I want you to know that it's possible for you to renew your mind. I want to leave you with this, that hey, even as you are faced with this challenge of the battle for the mind, remember one thing. Remember your identity. Who are you? And I want to tell you now, you're a child of God. And he loves you very much. And 1 Corinthians 15 verse 57 says, he will give us victory through Jesus Christ. It is my prayer today that you will know that with all these challenges that we are faced with, there is victory in Jesus. You shall be victorious and you shall be an overcomer by the grace of God. And so today I want to say, may God richly bless each one of you young people in Woodlands Conference and keep hope alive. Jesus loves you. We love you so much. And you are children of God. Thank you.